It's Tuesday night, January 24th, 2023. We're back. The Boiler Breakdown is back. Brand new episode streaming live on the Boiler Breakdown Facebook page, Twitter page, and YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, follow, do all those things if you haven't already. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts at, please give us a 5-star rating and a review. We really appreciate it. With all that said, I'm Tanner Lee, co-host Evan Webb in the house tonight. Webby, what's going on?
Good to be back. I feel like we've been slacking a little bit, so it's nice to get in front of the mic again.
Yeah, well, I will apologize to our loyal podcast viewers and listeners. We have been slacking a little bit, but we're in a busy time in our lives. Evan and I both getting ready for weddings, some sooner than others. Evan, and then Andrew having a baby this past year. So I feel like we did pretty good in the fall with football, but as the winters come around, we haven't done so hot. But hopefully here on out we'll be able to crank out a episode every week because the Boilers are fun to watch and they're fun to talk about.
Yeah, so again, not really expecting this was we were going to have, and again, going into the year, you're looking forward to not really having many expectations, just kind of enjoying watching this team grow, and boy, they grew up pretty quickly.
You mean you didn't foresee Purdue being ranked number one not once but twice this year?
I didn't. I'm not sure I'd ever see Purdue ranked twice in my life after last year.
I didn't think this Purdue team would crack the top 15 this year, but that's the low expectations I had, and here we are, the second time we're number one in the country, thanks to Houston's home loss to Temple, and the voters voting us in over Alabama. Even though it was close, getting closer. That's okay. But let the doubters keep doubting. Good week for Purdue last week. Started on Monday on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Went up to the Breslin Center, a place where it's probably going to come down to the last shot, at least historically, between Purdue and Michigan State the last 4 or 5 years. And exactly that happened. Purdue was down 1 late. Zach Edey gets to go ahead bucket with two seconds to go, and then the last 2 seconds took about 21 minutes. And but thank goodness Winston for Michigan State finally missed after dropping 30 on us.
Yeah, you think, honestly, thank God that the last minute took as long as it did, because he was on a heater, and you got to think that extended break definitely kind of cooled him down a little bit, because when he let go of that ball, I thought, oh, man, that is in. It looked really good just from the angle the TV had, and then they showed it again, like, oh, he wasn't even really close. But, yeah, that was a great win. Last year at Illinois had a great road win for last year's team, so we were 2-0 on MLK Day. But it's always extra special when you can beat Sparty and Izzo, especially when he's complaining after the game, but not complaining, but complaining.
Yeah, he's not gonna take 10 minutes to complain about the rest, but that's exactly what he did. Yeah. So it is going to be weird getting them at home this week and on Sunday at Mackey, playing the Spartans twice in a little less than 2 weeks. It doesn't happen very often, but
no, it doesn't. And usually I feel like when it does happen, it's always like you're playing Northwestern or Penn State or like something, maybe a typical bottom feeder. But when you're playing, a marquee program like Michigan State back to back within a couple weeks, I feel like we don't see that very often at all.
What do you think about Michigan State's strategy? And they've done this with our bigs in the past of going just one-on-one and not doubling.
It was definitely a choice. I probably would have doubled just to make it, because we haven't been. Obviously, we had been shooting better, but I feel like we, just based off what as the season as a whole, I definitely probably would have made Purdue prove it from 3. But hey, they did the same thing to Trace Jackson Davis, and he did the exact same thing. So it was definitely a choice by Tommy and the boys.
I gotta think they'll probably do the same thing Sunday, or a variation that's pretty similar.
Yeah, I said Isaac Haas all the time, and yeah, I guess it's definitely. I don't know. I don't really know what to say, but it was. Zach took advantage of it. That last possession was not only the pass from Fletcher, but the power dribble. Like, I feel like we've never seen it. I feel like we haven't seen that from Zach at all. And it was just like he knew exactly what he was doing, and it was such an impressive move. But he's just a tall guy, so that's all the reason why he's good. So.
yeah, just a tall guy. Or as one Indiana person on Twitter today said Trace Jackson Davis is by far the best player in college basketball, and if you don't think so, you don't know ball. So, guess I don't know ball. I guess you don't know ball. I guess we don't know ball.
Yeah, I'm not even saying that Edie's the best player in the country, but
no, I'm not saying that either. I
maybe
think
someone with a jump shot.
I think he's the leader for National Player of the Year right
Yeah,
now. I think that's pretty safe to say. But glad we have the big man because
absolutely.
And I know we've talked about this in nauseum, but he's still raw in terms of years of playing basketball. And that's the crazy thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy just to watch his improvement just from. I mean, really, even last year and this year, obviously he's playing a lot more, but his footwork is so good. I mean, we can get into the dialogue about him not picking up fouls and not fouling, even though he gets absolutely murdered every single time down the court. But just like his ability to stay straight up, play defense. I mean, part of it too is people just aren't going to the rim on him because again, he's 7'4", then you throw in however long his arms are. He's pretty much touching the rim at that point. But yeah, it's crazy just to see his progressions, to see what he could potentially do under another year, with Brantley and Painter's tutelage.
Yeah, Zach played well. I mean, he shot a bunch last Monday, but he played well. Fletcher Lawyer had a good game, even though Foster's better, according to Michigan State, even though Michigan State kind of pushed him out the door a little bit. That was a choice by the Izzone, but that's all right. And I'm glad we beat them when the Izzone was back. I want to add that too.
If not, I mean, obviously it just makes it sweeter, but I think also too, just to get another, really rough environment, tough environment for these young guys to see. Cause obviously, I mean, they played in some tough games. Obviously the game against Penn State at the Palestra was tough. It was a cool environment for them to play in. I mean, even go back to Gonzaga in Portland, that was almost like a home game for them. But Breslin's a different animal. It was definitely probably one of the top 5 venues in college basketball, and to have them right on top of you and for them to pull it out is got to be a confidence booster going into really any other environment in college basketball.
And then after being in that environment on Monday, they went to the Barn on Thursday, which is not near as raucous an environment, but it has been a house of horrors in different ways for Purdue over the years. But this was thankfully a pretty boring game.
Yes.
As to Purdue pretty much had control from the start, didn't let up. It wasn't nerve-wracking. It was nice for once.
Yeah. Again, I mean, Edie was great. Braden took over. I mean, the pick and roll was phenomenal. Really one of probably the better, defensive efforts. I mean, obviously you gave up 39 points. I mean, we scored 61, but still won by 20 plus. So it's a pretty impressive feat. Even again, it is Minnesota, last place team, but still, I mean, we already played them once, and usually the second time around, they've seen you once already, so they're pretty familiar with you. And we were on their home court. So, and again, as we've seen going even from last year when the Purdue's got that single digit next to their name, they're getting everybody's best shot because they want to be the one that takes down one of the top 10 teams. But Purdue just kept them at arm's length the entire game.
And those are the type of games that will cost you conference championships.
Oh, 100%.
They won't win you conference championships, but they'll cost you conference championships. So, and we've seen, I mean, college basketball's nuts this year. You have to bring it every night. I mean, who would have thought Loyola Marymount was going to knock off Gonzaga at Gonzaga? Who thought Temple was going to go into Houston and win? So you got to bring it every night. So Boilers got that done like they're favored to do so. Then returned back to Mackey on Sunday, just 2 days ago, for 3 games, a 7 days period, which is never easy. And it looked like it took its toll on Purdue. Purdue looked pretty gassed by the end of that game. Grew a sizable lead at one point against Maryland, to which I thought we were going to blow the doors off them. But credit to Maryland, they kept chipping away, and they had a shot at the buzzer taken in overtime.
Yeah, that was when we knocked that ball. I was like, oh, that's great. But then it went right into his hands. Like, that is the luckiest. Like, that is such a great bounce. It probably got them a better shot than they probably would have gotten had we not even touched the ball. So, yeah, I mean, credit to them. They made things really difficult, really physical. I mean, the refs weren't calling it. So, obviously, they're going to keep doing it. But definitely, we just looked – I mean, the fact that we couldn't score outside free throws for the last, what felt like the 5 minutes or whatever, it definitely – Braden looked gassed. There was a rumor that he might have been battling some sickness or getting over sickness. I mean, obviously when you look at Fletcher and Braden, like there's there's an absolute grind in January for freshmen, no matter how good they are. So you think that played a toll, played a part. And not much production from the bench, which is, a little bit concerning, especially as we get, later into the year and people start to figure things out against us. But I mean, again, one of those, what was impressive about the team is us being able to grind out wins, whether it's, scoring 70, 80 points or scoring 58.
Yeah.
It's been pretty impressive.
I've just been impressed by this team's defense all year long. I didn't think they'd be near this good of a defensive team. It's probably just because coming off the heels of last year's team, which we've also spoken in length that it's not fair to compare this year's team to last year's team, but it's easy to do so since that's the last one in recent memory.
And you have a lot of returning players, so yeah.
Right, that too. But yeah, like Minnesota, like you said, we only scored 61. Most nights I'd be concerned, but when you hold your opponent in check to 39, you don't have anything to worry about.
Right.
But the Maryland game, it was just frustrating because Purdue just couldn't quite put them away. Like we said, they seemed to be just exhausted. Maryland couldn't hit anything either from outside. Thank goodness, just
Thankfully.
like Purdue couldn't. Purdue got a lot of good looks. Once again, just couldn't hit them. It is starting to get a little concerning to me. It seems like the guys are more locked in on the road than they are at home.
Yeah, which is a little bizarre. But, going back to kind of what you just said, defense, Jameer Young is kind of the guy that we definitely keyed on.
Right.
4 of 18 from field, 0 of 6 from 3. He had, he had 10 points. That's obviously, and so that was credit to Ethan Morton.
Yep.
Do you think it was their defense? Because obviously they switched to like that, 1-2-2 or 2-2-1 zone that kind of fell back into a 2-3. Do you think it was their pressure that was causing, or just think it was just lack of mental focus / exhaustion? Because Braden made some pretty stupid passes sometimes, or just very not stupid, but just kind of just what felt like lazy passes. And it was I don't think that was really their pressure. It was just more of just wasn't thinking.
I think some was the pressure, but I think more is what you were saying. I think it was just kind of some laziness with passes and not being totally focused, totally sharp. Maybe that was just the long week. I'm not sure because we've played against physical teams this year. Rutgers, 1 point loss, and there's been some others along the way. We're going to play defenses that are, Iowa. Yes, they give up a lot of points, but they're one that have gave us problems in the past with their half court trap defense. We're going to play a lot of other teams that do this, so got to get used to it. And I feel like we've handled the press pretty well this year until Sunday. It just makes me laugh. We're 19-1, number 1 in the country, and people on message boards are already freaking out. Have we hit our ceiling? They're already waiting for the shoe to drop. It's just and I'm not trying to call Purdue fans out, but I'm going to call Purdue fans out. And you and I are guilty of this as well in the past. It just seems like Purdue fans are always waiting for the bad thing to happen. And, looking, ahead at a matchup might be scared of. I'm like, we can't do that anymore. We're the number 1 team in the country. At least the rankings say so. We got the target on our back. We can't be scared of anybody. I know it's hard to get into this new thinking for Purdue sports and Purdue culture, but I want to see it carry over in football too. We just got to get rid of that kind of woe is us state.
No, I definitely agree, man. I go to myself looking ahead, especially we've got a really tough 4-game stretch.
Sure.
Coming up, and it's I'm worried about the game in Bloomington. The game, Michigan State rematch, but it's let's just beat Michigan.
Right, because we that's been a house of horrors for us in years past. We've won some really good games up there with some good Michigan teams, but more times than not in Chrysler, they're knocking down threes against us. It will not shock me if they shoot out their butt come Thursday.
It's I'm trying outside of maybe Timmy, probably one of the more difficult matchups for Edie with the fact of Dickinson.
Yeah.
He can pick and pop.
He won't play any defense, but he's great on offense.
Yeah, he's great on offense. He can, he's quick for a big man, so he can, if Edie bites, he can definitely get by him. So it's going to be a tall task, but Edie's done well so far with guarding anybody. So.
Yeah, it's a weird week looking ahead, against State of Michigan. Only time we play Michigan this year. It's Thursday night, 9 o'clock. Hate 9 o'clock games, but here we are. And then Michigan State, like we said, the rematch, CBS Sunday national game before the NFL gets rolling, which will be a good lead into the NFL, hopefully, for Purdue. And so we got a chance to sweep the State of Michigan this weekend for the season. But I guess which game worries you more right now? And I know that might be a a funny question to ask because we've just been saying, Purdue's more locked in on the road this year, being undefeated than they have been at home. But looking at the opponents, both of them haven't been playing the greatest as of late. But which game makes you more nervous, I guess?
Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because, again, it's on the road, kind of what you said, like I could absolutely see them finding a way to just shoot, 12 of 20 from 3, like just absolutely going off. Hunter hits 5 of them for some reason.
Yep.
Don't know the status of Jet Howard. I'm not sure.
Sprained ankle's all I've seen. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's obviously coming off the game on Sunday. Obviously, that's our last time we've seen the team. So it's like, oh man, we didn't shoot well, all that, but that's the only thing to worry about.
Yeah, I'm right.
We haven't seen them yet. At least with Michigan State, we've seen them already. Like, we can maybe know what to expect. It's at home, which again can go back to your point of, are we more locked in on the road or at home? But I think the style of play definitely. I think I haven't watched a whole lot of Michigan this year. I know they're struggling, but obviously, again, when you come into a team's venue ranked number 1, like, everybody wants to beat them because that's what makes the headlines. So,
and going back to the kind of the Purdue fans being negative or waiting for the shoe to drop or whatever, I did see a post, and I'm not trying to call anybody out. So if you're out there on Knucklehead Central and you posted this, I'm not trying to call you out. I just saw it today and just sparked this to bring it up on the podcast. I did see somebody on the message board say, I wish we were ranked number 3 going into this game, not number 1 going to Michigan, just for what you said, having that target on your back. But even then, it's like you're still top 5 ranked. I mean, you're still the average Joe bandwagon Michigan fan that has season tickets and sells more than they don't would go to that game, even if you're ranked number 3.
Oh yeah.
So, I expect a raucous environment, the Chrysler Arena up there. I'm with you though. I'm a little more nervous about that game, probably because it's the first one of the week. We should be rested up though, Sunday through Thursday, and then quick turnaround on the following Sunday against Michigan State. But last week, after the Michigan State Rutgers game, I'm like, okay, I'm more worried about Michigan State than I am Michigan. But no, just recent history with the matchups. I'm a little more concerned about Michigan as well. But, man, if we can get through this week, we went through January with 1 loss.
Yeah, that's wild.
By a point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's still crazy to think about. I mean, it's just crazy to see what this team has done so far. It's still crazy. Like, it's not like I don't think we've hit our ceiling. There's so many things we can improve on. Like, clean up the turnovers. Yep. We haven't. We had a good stretch where we shot really well. Then obviously the Maryland game, but like I feel like we could still shoot a lot better.
Yep.
Obviously we could still clean up things on the defensive end. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of improvement for this team, which is also exciting to think about. Yeah,
sure. And it's hard not to look too far ahead. I mean, we're 2 games ahead of the second place team in the Big Ten right now. That's a pretty nice cushion. A full month into conference play.
So I was trying to keep up with that. They're up 18 with 30, or they're up 20 with 28 seconds to go. Rutgers.
Rutgers is up 20.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
65-45. That Rutgers defense, man. So
Penn State can just go bombs away on you too.
Yeah, Penn State is 4 for 26 from 3.
Well, yep. See, and that's also the negative side of it when you go bombs away.
Yeah, I mean, let's see where. Oh no, my ESPN app is being dumb. Where like sometimes does it zeroes everybody's schedule standings out. So I'm like, wait, that's not how it's supposed to be. Yeah, 2.5 will be 2. Will be 2.5 over Michigan, or 2.5 over Michigan going to the game. So that's again another chance to create some separation there. Then obviously turn around and play Michigan State, another team that's in the top 5 for you a chance to get some separation. Penn State's going to take a loss tonight, and obviously you play at Bloomington next Saturday with a chance to give them another loss too, but that won't be an easy one.
And we can't overlook Penn State next week.
Absolutely
either.
Not.
I mean, they've come into Mackey in recent years and beat us. And I see Illinois is up 14 on Ohio State.
Yeah, I've got the game on right now too.
Which was really a must-win for both teams.
Yeah, they just went up 18.
Yeah, Ohio State's in big trouble. I don't know. They're really reeling. But the Big Ten's so interesting. And you presented this question to me and one of our other good friends for another podcast I do. The Big Ten, you look at Purdue And then they're the only ranked team right now out of all the Big
Mhm.
Tens. And so many people are log jammed in the middle. Is that parity or is that mediocrity? And
Mhm.
we both said it was more mediocrity than parity.
Mhm. Yeah, I think. I mean, it was the beginning of the year, November, December. It was like there's some in the Big Ten was looking pretty good. Then all of a sudden, like by the end of December, it had kind of fallen off a cliff. Yeah, the Big Ten is like because they're just going to just cannibalize each other. So it's gonna be really interesting to see. Like, but obviously, then you look at what was it? Lenardi had like 10 teams getting to the tournament. It's like
which would shock me, but
yeah, like that's just. I mean, there's a couple 11 seeds. Obviously, Purdue was a 1 seed, a couple 5 seeds. But a lot of that, go ahead.
If they keep beating up on each other, it's gonna be a lot of like 7 to 10 seeds, I think.
Yeah,
especially when you have a gauntlet of a conference right now in the Big 12. I mean, the Big
Right.
12 could get like 10 of the 12 teams in.
Yeah, the Big 12 is legit. I mean, Baylor beat Kansas last night.
3 in a row for Kansas. Man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously TCU's beating Kansas. I mean, Kansas State's good.
Yep.
I mean, so they've got
Texas is good. Nobody talks about them because they don't have their head coach. But
right, yeah, it's the Big 12 is probably maybe classic college basketball this year right now.
I would say so.
But yeah, so like that's gonna be interesting to see where the Big Ten kind of falls in because
Mhm.
you only have so many 11 seeds.
Yep.
I don't think
Yep.
they can all be Big Ten teams.
Yep.
Big Ten teams not going to get probably lower than 11 seed, I don't think, because usually the 12s and belows are there for the mid majors and the play-in games. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how this kind of plays out. If the trend continues, where everybody's kind of beating up on each other, and which I'm fine with as long as we keep winning.
Yep, a lot of basketball to be played, but like you said, just keep winning and ignore the naysayers. I mean, even though Purdue's number 1 in the country, a lot of national media doesn't want to say they're number 1 in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, Alabama might be the hot team right now, but they still have 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
In their head-to-head matchup with Purdue against Gonzaga, they lost.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is right there. I mean, it's just people don't want to give credit to Purdue, I feel like, because the Big Ten is down this year compared to.
Do you also think, and I saw someone present this, I think it was on the message boards of, we've seen it on, the Field of 68 podcast and national media and all this stuff. Like people I just said, don't give Purdue credit. Do you think it's because that Purdue's not winning in the way that college basketball has been traditional in the last couple of years?
Sure.
We don't have the Jaden Ivey type, which is why we were so popular last year because we had a flashy player. We're kind of doing this in a, mid 90s type of style where we've got just the big man in the middle and just feed it to him. Nothing super flashy, nothing, super, exciting. No, we don't have a dynamic guard. Obviously, I really like Braden Smith. He's not a Brandon Miller type player where he's just, blown by everybody.
Right.
I wonder if that's the case too, because they just don't want to give credit to a style that's not sexy at this point in time.
Oh, I think it's I think whoever posted that hit the nail on the head. I think that's definitely a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like that's sports. There's no right way to win. You do what works for you. Matt's figured out what works for his teams and his program, and you just keep chugging along. You don't care what the naysayers say. Just like in football, it's ugly how Iowa goes 8-4, 9-3 every year, but they do it.
But they do it.
They barely move the ball. They barely score points, but their defense and special teams is good.
And people still sign up to play for them.
Exactly. And the fans love it because they probably hate it, but also love it because they get wins more times than not.
Right.
Who cares as long as you're getting that W next to your name and the box score. So, but that's a good point. That's one I hadn't really thought of, and I think is really justified because, everybody wants to look at these high flying athletes who's got produced at the next level, and our best player and the player that's probably leading the country for national player of the year as of right now in the mock drafts, he's late second round undrafted, which still blows my mind. But it's just what the NBA is today. 20 years ago, he's a lottery pick.
Yeah, if not number one.
If not number one. So Kwame Brown was
not even that long. Greg Oden. He wasn't out there, picking and popping and shoot. At least I remember. Just a big dude.
He shot one-handed free throws. Sometimes.
Yeah, and he was number one. Yeah, if this was 2006, Edie's probably going top 5.
Yep.
Which is, I just now thought I can't, because I always again kind of going that 90s, early 2000s. This was not that. This was in our lifetime of we were in high school.
I know. It's just the way the NBA, sports evolve, basketball, football evolves. just when we were in high school or actually college, even it was in the NFL. Defense was winning you championships. The Legion of Boom, Seattle Seahawks, the Ravens around that time,
even the
Buccaneers in the
Broncos
early,
kind of right
even
towards
the
the end.
Broncos, 2015, absolutely. And now it's what can your quarterback do for
right.
you? So,
Yeah.
and the running game.
If your quarterback can't run and he's not Tom Brady, then you're probably not going to be doing much.
Right. So it's just the wave sports go to in a decade. The NFL will probably change. The NBA will probably change. I don't know. The NBA, it might be pretty stuck with the pick and pop big man though for a while. So, but and I talked about this last night on one of my other podcasts. As far as NBA, two of my favorite players to watch is Jokic and Doncic. It's European style ball. It's not even what we're used to, but they're bringing. It's just fun to me because it's team basketball. It's big guys shooting, and that does go against Zach a little bit with the big guys. Shooting,
I mean, one of my favorite players to watch is Giannis. I mean, that dude his nickname is the Greek Freak because he's an absolute freak. The way he can move with that big of a body,
right?
It's wild.
But
speaking of NBA, did you see the play with Jaden last night when he did?
Yeah, I bumped Grayson Allen. Finally, somebody did that. That guy. I thought he might shape up a little bit in NBA. Nah.
Can't believe he's still sticking.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good player. He's a good role player off the bench, I guess. So, I guess most teams want a guy like that everybody hates except their own teammates. Draymond Green's made a career out of it. So, but no, looking forward to this week though. It's going to be two good games. It gets two good programs, Michigan State, and two opportunities for Purdue to get two more good wins and just keep this thing rolling. I keep reminding myself, just enjoy this season. We want to focus on March, and sure, that's where everybody wants to make the big deal about, but just enjoy the season and at least try to get that Big Ten championship.
Yeah, and have something to show for it because, I mean, we know how March can end just abruptly, but if you can have just something to show for it. And I guess I heard this on another I think it was World Sports Podcast, but like as of right now, where do you rank Edey in terms of Painter's big men?
Oh, man.
Do you put him at the top?
He's right there with Caleb Swanigan. Right there. And I'm overlooking a Big Ten MVP and a first-team All-American, Juwan Johnson. But the first two, I think it was Edey and Swanigan, just because Swanigan, I mean, the teams around him were good and very talented, especially his sophomore year. But that man could do it all. He could shoot threes when he needed to. He's a good free throw shooter. He was clutch. He was a great rebounder, good passer. He just was 6'9". He wasn't 7 feet, But Edey, I haven't seen a player develop like this under Matt and just be a dominant force. And not only that, but Isaac Haas could be dominant at times, but Isaac didn't have the athleticism or the footwork or the hand-eye coordination even that Zach has. So, I think I would say he's right behind Swanigan.
Yeah.
But if he wins National Player of the Year this year and takes Purdue past the Sweet 16, then I think you got to move him up number one.
Yeah, I think so too, which is absolutely crazy to think about when we recruited him. It's like, oh, cool, we'll see this guy. We'll see what we can do in 2 or 3 years after he's redshirted and see what we can do. So, yeah, it's wild.
And, we're so spoiled when it comes to talented big guys because so many programs would have taken any of those guys that we didn't even mention. Carl Landry. I know he had to play big guy, but he was a horse for 2.5 years or 2 years. We won't count that one kind of 5-game stretch he played and then decided his knee wasn't ready to go. Matt Harms. I know he could be frustrating at times, but a lot of programs would have taken him in a heartbeat.
I mean, he was perfect for that 2019 team, or because he could move, he could shoot. He was at least a threat to shoot. I mean, maybe the one most consistent, but he could. I mean, he had kind of almost like was like on a pogo stick. He could block a shot and get back right up again. And so that was he could do that. He was a great trial blocker. I said he could set picks for Carson and pop for that. It's just kind of maybe the way things ended with him, or just some of his antics people don't like. But I mean, Harms was great, and just the fire injury he had too was great.
Donnie Kuzma on YouTube said, "Yeah, but Haas had a nice little face to the basket short jumper." That is true. He did have that. That's one thing that Edey hasn't proven that he has. his arsenal. If he has it, we haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So Zach's definitely doesn't attempt jump shots like all the other big guys did from time to time, but I don't think the rest of them were as powerful as he is either. But they weren't 7'4", 290 either.
Right.
So Haas was close. I think he was like 7'10", 270 or 280, so pretty close. But and credit to Zach too. A lot of, you were talking about, he has more shots blocked this year than he does fouls. A lot of people, at least commentators, don't want to give him credit for how good a defender he's become too.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, I can't remember the exact. I saw a tweet about it because there's the whole narrative that he's not being called for fouls. When how is he not fouling? Which, I mean, I get 100%, but also if you watch games, like if you watch, I think it was a Minnesota game, like they would get to the lane and then they would like almost like freak out, like either like a floater, like 15 feet in the air, or they'd pass out or whatever. Like, I mean, Battle tried to take right at him and he got it blocked at the apex, which I thought was for sure was going to be a foul. I'm glad the ref actually let it play out. But I think there was a stat that was like, it looked at Trace, Jackson Davis, Hunter Dickinson, and Edey. And Edey, shots taken at the rim when he was like 26% versus like 46 for 46 of the shots when they were in the game was taken at the rim. Like they're just not going at the rim with him because again, he's a mountain of a man down there. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, a lot of times big guys like that, they might not always get stats for blocks, but a lot of times they're still altering shots or altering shot selection, and that's not a stat that goes down in the stat book, but still just important.
Absolutely.
But you predicting 2-0 for the Boilers this week, or split, or a horrible 0-2? 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
Yeah, I am too. I think. Do you think are both of them under 10 points? Both over 10 points? One in one category, one in the other category?
Michigan, I think definitely under 10. Michigan State, I could see it playing out exactly how it did last time, but I can also see, just because we've seen it, I could see this team blowing them out. Like if they can get hot, like when we saw it, and the team that wasn't that great, and then being a 2020 team that would have made the tournament had the season gone on, like they blew out Michigan State. Like Sasha got hot and just we ran away with it. So I'd like to see that. I'll be in attendance, hoping for some script uniforms. But
I was just going to ask you, the scripts coming out, because I think if we don't get them Sunday, I don't think we're getting.
Yeah, we're not going to get them. Yeah, I mean it's perfect timing. CBS. As you said, a lot of eyes, which I didn't think about. A lot of eyes on the game, probably because it's leading in now the number one team in the country, leading into the NFL. The AFC Championship.
The AFC's at night though.
Oh, that's right.
6 o'clock, but still,
yeah.
Fans are going to be wanting to watch something before the NFC game on Fox.
Yeah, and I sent it to you guys in the text, but there's a interview with Fletcher. I think it was on maybe a news broadcast, or whatever, and he's wearing a shirt. And I was like, I swear to God, it looks like some script on his shirt. I don't know. You can't really tell. Like, that looks different.
Yeah.
Looks like Chris Avell. So I'm praying for some script jerseys, because that would be.
We need them. It's time. It's time.
I don't even at this point. I don't even care if it's like the Mount era ones. Like I want because I got Ohio State on the TV, but they've got the script Buckeyes ones, like those. Right. Like we had Boilers. Sweet.
Yeah, just a variation of a script would be.
Yeah,
be nice.
But they'll be a fun crowd, and I'm hoping for a blow at that, because it's always fun to beat those stupid face.
Yeah. Besides beating Indiana. In your opinion, my opinion, there's nothing better than beating Michigan State.
Yeah, and it's real close too, because some people I think it was Boyle Sports Day after theirs. Obviously, we hate IU for just this, just athletics and their fans, whatever. But Michigan State hates on a different level just for what they've done as a university. It actually affected people's lives. That hate's a true hate, and it's a little different. It's just
they're dirty, and it's been a good Big Ten rivalry. I mean, maybe they don't want to admit it, but it's been a lot more times than not. It's been really good.
Probably in the last 10 years, that's probably been one of my probably my favorite game. Where I'm excited. If I can't go to that game, I'm upset. Just because it's because usually they're at the top with us. We're fighting for. I think back to 2016. It was a great game when we had Raphael and AJ going down the wire. I think it was AJ got a key rebound that kind of sealed the game.
Yep.
And just Mackey was just going absolutely bonkers. I think Rayfeld had a really good game. I think
he was hitting everything. We got up, way up, and then they came storming back.
Yeah, I mean, it was again like kind of getting there towards the top of the Big Ten standings, but yeah, it's always been great games.
Yep, I remember missing one in college for an exam. It was actually Gary Harris. One of those years, he played a Mackey, and they ended up beating us, I think, pretty easily. But I remember being very upset that I had a statistics exam. I think it was statistics that night, and oh well, it is what it is. At least our teams weren't number one in the country. Then I wouldn't have really thrown a fit. It was one of the 2 years that Painter had in the middle of his tenure that we didn't make the tournament. So but even in football, I don't like Michigan State. I know we don't play them too often, but even in football, they're one of my favorite opponents to beat. And I like Mel Tucker more than I do Tom Izzo, but even them, I laugh at that he's getting paid $95 million and not producing much right now. So
right. I mean, I remember last year when they were number 2 or whatever, them in the stands, I mean, they were chirping and everything. It was pretty sweet to stop their Heisman hopeful and essentially ruin his campaign.
Yeah. Yep. Let's look at the Big Ten slate for this week. Tomorrow there's triple header. Northwestern's 1.5-point favorite at Nebraska.
I think Northwestern gets it done. I mean, we've kind of talked about, at least in our friend group, Northwestern's free fall. But after their win against Wisconsin, I don't know. I mean, they've got some nice wins. I mean, they're up there.
They're 13-5, so I don't know why. Well, one of our friends won't say anything nice about Northwestern.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
Illinois fans.
I think Northwestern squeaks it out.
I do too. Maryland, 5.5-point favorites at home against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's the team I'm a little nervous for them about a free fall. I mean, personally, I don't care because I don't like them, but like, if I was their fans, I'd be nervous. Yeah,
because I was actually surprised. I mean, I didn't watch the game, but I thought Wisconsin lost tonight without Wall, but he actually played, so that was a little shocking to me. But I think I'm gonna take Maryland, the home team.
I am too. And then Indiana on a 3-game win streak. They're starting to, at least it looks like, find their mojo a little bit, unfortunately. 9.5-point favorites at Minnesota.
I think, they run away with that one.
Yeah, Minnesota just, unfortunately, is not very good.
Yeah.
Already covered the Purdue-Michigan game, of course, but Iowa travels to East Lansing to play Michigan State on Thursday night.
I think Michigan State gets a bounce back win after losing to Purdue.
I do, too. You mean losing to Indiana? Bounce back after losing to Indiana, you mean?
Well, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself for Sunday. Yep.
Both those teams need that one because I was sitting there at 12-7, Michigan State 13-7.
So yep.
I think Spartans get it done at home as well. Saturday, we got 4 games. Minnesota at Northwestern.
I think Northwestern gets that one done.
I think they have a heck of a week going 3-0. Illinois at Wisconsin.
Ooh, this is like which Illinois team shows up
in Wisconsin, especially if they lose to who did I just say they were going to lose to Maryland. They're going to be fighting from a corner.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say Wisconsin just because they're at home. I think it's a classic Big Ten brawl.
I'll take Illinois just to be different so we don't keep agreeing, but I hope you're right on that one. Nebraska at Maryland.
Maryland. I mean, Nebraska's, they've put up some fights, much more than I thought they would, but I think it's Maryland at home.
And then 8:00 Fox game. I don't know why they keep getting these national games. Well, I do, but
because before the season, yeah.
Ohio State at Indiana.
I was hoping that Ohio State might be able to turn around, but after watching them against Illinois here, I don't have much confidence in Ohio State at all. So I think Indiana and buckle up because the hype train is going to be
if they win both games this week, they'll be 5 in a row and they'll probably jump back in the top 25.
Oh, 100%. They're like 27th this week, so they'll definitely jump in.
They do play at Maryland before they host us. I was checking what they do that week, so at least it's on the road. The other 2 games besides Purdue Michigan State on Sunday is Michigan at Penn State.
At Penn State. I'm gonna go with Penn State on that one. Home.
I like it. Maybe Michigan will just be done, and then Howard's gonna be looking to jump to the NBA if the interest is still there. Then Rutgers at Iowa.
Big Iowa fan that day. I mean, Rutgers they are impressive this year.
They are. They are. I will take Iowa though. I will take Iowa.
They have a tendency to like lay a bad game here. I mean, as every Big Ten team is able to do, but like because they just don't have the offensive firepower that some other teams might have. I mean, like it could be. I mean, that's a total defense versus offense in that Iowa Rutgers game, and Iowa being at home might give them the slight edge. But I'm gonna take Rutgers until proven otherwise.
I'll take Iowa just to disagree with you again. So, but yeah, it's I mean, Big Ten's a little down this year in a lot of people's eyes, but it's still fun to watch because it is kind of unpredictable. Once you just think a team's going, so far besides Purdue, thankfully, so far when teams get on 3 or 4 game win streaks, you're like, all right, this team's starting to roll. Then they drop 2 in a row.
Yep.
It's like just can't.
Or vice versa. So Indiana, it's like, man, like we thought, like I mean,
they're done. They're done.
We were all, I know Purdue fans were all gloating like this team is cooked. And then they get Wisconsin at the right time without Tyler Wall. I thought for sure Illinois was going to beat them, and Illinois could not make a layup, which was infuriating to watch. And they couldn't stop Trace Jackson-Davis to save their life. Granted, he's a great player, but they weren't switching anything up.
Danger didn't know what side of him to guard.
Yeah. And then so they went from absolutely being dead to now they're talking about making the Final Four run now. So. We'll see. Which
will make their ultimate crash and burn even better to watch. But still. Yeah, I think in the end, I think the state of Indiana will get three teams in the tournament, at least. I think Purdue gets in. I think Indiana will get in. I think Indiana State. They'll probably have to win their conference championship because even if you're the Missouri Valley regular season winner, that usually is not enough. Sometimes it is. But also watch out for Purdue Fort Wayne. They would have to win their conference tournament at the Horizon, but they could do that.
Like Ball State.
And Ball State, Michael Lewis is doing good there. I would write off Valpo and Evansville. They are not good. You got to write off Butler. They are not good. And I know Butler fans can say they weren't left with anything, which they weren't. But this is going worse than they could have imagined. the Thad Matta era is off to a very bad start.
Yeah.
They might want to think, well, if it wasn't for those back-to-back national runner-ups, they wouldn't be in the Big East anyways. I was going to say they might want to thank that those years for being in the Big East, because if not, the Big East might be like, do we really want to keep these guys around? But no, they're not going anywhere. Big East is a basketball conference. So any other thoughts on Boiler Hoops or college basketball in a nutshell around the country?
It's been fun. I said I was watching the Baylor Kansas game last night. Like, this is one of the first games I'd watched that was not like Purdue related in terms of like Purdue game or like Big Ten related. And I was like, it's nice just to watch a game.
It is
2 good teams and not have to really give a crap about who wins this game.
It is. I was the same way. One of my college roommates was there at the game last night. He sent me a picture. I said, how's that arena? He goes, it's pretty nice. He goes, it reminds me a lot of Mackey. He said they're building a new one though with all the money they got. So he says that whole Baylor's just interesting fan base because there's so many universities in Texas.
Oh yeah,
they're pretty good at both sports, but they don't get talked about a lot. So
well, it's like I was watching. I remember that they went there, but like Chip and Joanna Gaines were like front row. And I was like, I forgot about that. Like, they're like actual like A-list celebrities. Just
still live there, I believe, in Waco. Yeah, we need one of those in Lafayette to get us an A-list celebrity of some sort.
I guess my question, so we haven't seen it yet. Do you think Walters gets announced at halftime? Or not maybe at halftime, but at some point in the game?
I gotta think so. I know they and I can't remember his name. This is awful.
Mung Chang.
Thank you. They introduced him Sunday at Maryland, which is awesome. And I keep thinking now students are back. Let's get Walters out there. He's not shy about it.
You can, trot out the cannon, the bucket, and the Big Ten West trophy. You gotta need the whole team to carry that.
Put your new quarterback, assuming he wins starting job, front and center. I know the Boilermaker Alliance is all on pushing Hudson Card, which is awesome. I mean, he got that Bob Rorman deal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Got himself a new Toyota Tundra. So that's the day and age we live in college sports now. So. But other than that, not a ton of football news. We did get a JUCO offensive lineman commit today.
Keep them coming.
Got to think a few more just got to come before signing day in February because there's a lot of spots to fill. I'm hoping Dylan Downing gets on scholarship soon. Probably after spring game would be my guess. But But other than that, no, it's fun. It seems like Purdue's hot and heavy on the recruiting trail in football, and it seems like we just see more and more offers every day. Kids
Yeah, it's
announcing
like,
like
are we
blessed to get
like
offered by
counting
Purdue. It's like, how many
Yeah.
scholarships do we have to offer? But no, it's a
Yeah.
good thing. It's cool to see all the coaching staff engaging and active on social media. Whereas the other coaching staff, the previous, some of them were, but a lot of them had accounts and weren't really active. So it is cool to see them out there and engaging. And yeah, spring ball will be here before we know it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
even though it'll be later start, I think, than usual for Purdue this
Which is good for the fans because it means the better chance the spring game is with decent weather.
yeah, not blowing rain or 40 degrees or whatever they usually are. That year we went, it was not blowing rain, but it was like 40
it was sunny, but it was like
it
was sunny, but it was like freezing.
Yeah. Good times. But before we wrap it up, we better let everybody know who this podcast about. It's a broadcast, but it could be a broadcast too. We are live. Is brought to you by, and that is two sponsors that have been with us for a couple of years. First off, we got Mad Mush. Mad Mushrooms, heart of West Lafayette, serving Boilermakers since the 1990s, home of the original cheese stick. Of course, when you stop by or order online, you got to take advantage of their pizza of the month, which this month for the rest of the week, it is Mason's Cheat Day, which is their traditional pizza sauce, deli pepperoni, spicy pepperoni, sausage, ham, salami, bacon, mozzarella cheese, and finished, of course, with a ranch drizzle, starting at just $14. So get yourself two of those, put your bill over $20. Then you can use the discount code online, break5 for $5 off any order over $20. Or if you're in person, just tell them the Boiler Breakdown sent you, and you can get that discount as well. We thank Mad Mushroom for being a sponsor and supporter of our podcast for 3 straight years. That's Mad Mushroom. Feed your head. And the other sponsor of the podcast is The Shop, and I will let Evan tell you more about what they got going on.
Absolutely. The Shop's been, bringing, great shirts and hometown apparel to the fans since 2011. They started, in a garage. Now they've got themselves 2 brick and mortar locations in the Indianapolis area, one in Broad Ripple, one in Carmel, plus an online presence, obviously. I'm wearing the sweatshirt right now, the drum script. Or the drum script.
It's a sign. Script.
It's a sign. Also, the fact that they just released a whole kind of script set for the family. You can get a hoodie. You can get this in a T-shirt, which I definitely need to get my whole hands on. I think they've got women's shirt. Shirt or shirts for the children. Online only, which means get one of everything. Use promo code Breakdown. You're getting 25% off the entire order.
25% off.
I think they've got free shipping going on today. If you're listening on Tuesday, I think they've got free shipping today. They're starting to release their Indy 500 stuff.
Yeah, they dropped
huge for them.
Cool
stuff. So they do a great job with the 500. Always some really cool designs, and they're really, really proud of where they're from and what the 500 means to the not only Indy but the state of Indiana. Drinkware, shirts, sweatshirts, hats, whatever you need, stickers. They got you covered. Yep. Great people and very comfortable.
I grabbed myself FloJo 31 t-shirt of my favorite NBA player of all time, Reggie Miller. I wear it all the time. Like Evan said, extremely comfortable t-shirt. They got really cool retro Pacer stuff, which I'm more in favor of the retro design Pacer stuff than their newer than the Pacers newer stuff. But yeah, good stuff. Got a nice comment here from Steve Dotson on Facebook. Says, "Keep up the good work, guys." Thanks Steve. Appreciate the kind words. Thanks for tuning in.
If you're not watching TAN, Illinois is up 13 with 7 to go.
All right, man. Ohio State could make a run, but they better do it now.
They keep getting within like 9, and then all of a sudden look up, and then it's 13 points, and they're not hitting free throws, and they look kind of just out of sorts on defense.
Yeah. Illinois need this one tonight. That's what I was telling some people that asked me who I thought would win. I said Illinois, they need it really bad,
really badly.
So, any closing thoughts?
I cannot believe we were 19-1.
No.
I saw someone on the board say that like they thought like 19-12 was going to be our season. It's like, I mean, I guess like we could still be 19-12. It would just be an absolutely total biggest collapse in basketball history. But I just can't believe. I mean, obviously best start in school history, which I liked the video that they put out after. Actually, it was before. It was after the game. But it happened before the Maryland game where Painter's talking about it. So I like that they're talking about it because I feel like last year, like I feel like everyone was afraid to talk about the
Mhm.
expectations. So it just like it just felt like just a pressure cooker of pressure. Obviously, like it was just waiting to kind of when the season ended, it was kind of like okay, like we all kind of just like it sucked, but it was just like okay, that's over. Like we can relax. Whereas like this year, I have not felt that way at all. I mean, obviously it's stressful during games, as it always is for fans and everything. But like I haven't had that feeling at all of like if we don't win this game, like it's such an indictment on who we are or whatever because of the expectations. Like I mean, so I see some Purdue fans. I still don't have the expectation of Final Four or bust right now. And obviously you want to get there, but like I feel like that's not where I'm at. I'm just like let's just keep improving and we'll see where we're at the end of Big Ten season. I'm kind of now like Big Ten championship. Like let's get there first.
Yep.
And then we'll go from there.
Yep.
But the fact that they're talking about it, they're not shying away from it. Like when you saw Edie you sent it to our group chat of him on another interview of like talking about the pressure being number one, and he's like, we had learned a lot from last year. When you have that number next to your name, like you're gonna get every single person's best shot. Every time we lost last year, it was a court storm. It seemed like so. It's you learn from it and you kind of just expect it. It's really it's really frustrating because in the last couple of games, like when we've played people, it's like, man, we feel like we always get everybody's best shot. It's like, well, yeah, because we've got people get up for those types of games. I remember being a student when we sucked, and a team like Michigan State or Indiana that was ranked top 10 in the country. Like people were stoked to see because we wanted to see us Purdue pull the upset, and that's how it is every single time we go on the road. So it's just kind of again, kind of go back to what we said. It's just kind of the new normal for Purdue, and it's one that I'm definitely okay with.
Yeah,
I'm okay with the stress. Yeah, if that's what it means.
Yep.
So
you were saying, not thinking Final Four or bust yet, and I'm not quite there either. What will it take to get you in that mindset? Is it a number one seed? If we're number one seed in NCAA tournament, is that one that creeps in your mind?
Yeah. I mean, maybe even 2. I don't know about that bit. If it's a number 1, it's like, okay, we always talk about the path. Like you technically have the easiest path, there is. So just go out and do it. Easier said than done.
Oh yeah. The tournament's a crapshoot. I mean, more times than not.
And do not put Tennessee in our region. I've been talking with.
Yeah, we're going to play them in Maui again next year. So
I've been talking with my friend who's a Tennessee fan, and he's like, after the rankings came out, he goes, now that we're both maybe top 5, top 4, maybe they'll stop putting us in the same region. And bracket came out, and it's like, nope, we're in the same one. He's like, it's not. Neither one of us want that. Like, it'd be, oh God, I'm tired of them.
Yeah, sick of them. Sick of Marquette. And both are in the Maui next year.
Yeah. Which shout out to before the season, I thought after the Marquette game, I was like, that's probably gonna be our best one of the offseason, like of the pre-Big Ten season, just because of like I didn't think we were gonna have the the Portland and all that, and obviously Florida State was starting out to be a dumpster fire, but it's legit like the best win because they're the best team that we've played so far because Duke's kind of fallen off, and Gonzaga's been up and down, and West Virginia's not doing hot in the Big 12, but shout out to Marquette and Shaka.
Yeah, he's doing good there. So, if Purdue can get this win over Michigan, they will be the fastest Power 5 team to get to 20 wins since the 2018 Purdue team, in which they did over Michigan. Yeah. So, kind of crazy there.
And I say, we've talked about last 2 times Purdue's been number 1. They've lost to Rutgers. That's when they lost, and we don't play Rutgers until the Big Ten tournament championship. So there we go.
Yeah, if we play them at all, you're right.
Yeah,
right.
if we play them at all, yeah.
So, we'll cross that bridge when it comes. But till then, let's boil it up, hammer down, beat the Wolverines, and beat Sparty.
Boil it up.